I listened to your testimony both in the House and Senate, and it was just very poignant. And I hate to say I've been working around the legislature for way too many years, but I have. I started here as a young kid in 1983. And the people that always mean the most are the people like you, and I heard your stories the past couple of weeks, and you could just see legislators listening. You know, they like stop and put their Blackberries down, they put their pencils down, they stop passing notes, because they heard your heartfelt stories. And really, I think they felt like a little like, gosh, maybe we really do need to do something. Maybe these people are really serious. And I honestly believe that change starts at the grassroots level. And you can have a state up here all the time. And I know you probably say that about the state board, but we say we have good things to say. But I really think you guys are making a difference, and don't let up. Like now, even though like it seems like the doors are closing and everybody's sort of taking a breath for relief, don't let up. This is really important, and I honestly believe that you, and we're right there with you, can make a difference for our kids, and we absolutely cannot let up on our guys that are up here at the hill. So thank you. I am happy to really kind of take questions. I don't know, does anybody know what the state board does? I mean, does anybody not know? I mean, I am happy to like, okay, there's one name. I am just going to say that a couple of years ago, they reconstituted the state board. And there was a wonderful old board. They were really nice people. Some of them are still on my board, and they're really great people. But it was a real rubber stamp board. And when I was hired 2.5 years ago, one of my first things was to clean out my predecessor's office. I think, you know, we've all had that experience. And you come in, and there are piles everywhere of like papers. And what's this for? What did the board do? And really basically what I got is really kind of rubber stamp proposals that came up. And it was like, wow, so much paper. You don't need a rubber stamp for that. And I think legislators felt they wanted an activist board. Well, boy, did they get one, and they may be kind of regretting it. But, and I think a number of you have had the opportunity to meet with Mary Jean Ryan, who's our chair, and she is so passionate, as you are, about making a difference, and she's just given it her all, as have my other 15 board members. And so what this board is now about, it has some pretty specific charges. We've always been in charge of high school graduation requirements, but when they said define the purpose of a diploma, we got really excited. Oh, good, we'd like to do that, because we actually think in the 21st century things should be different for kids than they were. And really the model we have in our high schools now, I mean, it goes back to, you probably would have seen that in high schools in the early 1900s. I mean, there are a few tweaks to things, but it's a lot's the same. And yet the world is so different. I mean, you know, the kids, they're all tuned into technology, and they're smarter than we are. And so we took our mission seriously. Thought they really want us to think about what should be different. And so, as you know, the board has come up with a proposal which is for Core 24, which is to increase the state graduation requirements from 19 to 24. We think kids need more math and science. We think they need the arts. We think they need to have career concentrations. We think there's something in this for every kid, and it's really important. And we really appreciated your support in that effort. And we're not going to let up. And basically, the state ought to be paying for 6 hours of instruction a day. They pay for 5 hours now. They ought to be paying for 6. And why should the local levy go to that? You know, I mean, it's just about money. And for kids that are struggling, yeah, the money needs to be there for them. Why would we want to leave any of these kids out of being successful? I mean, education is how these kids are going to get ahead. And you know that because you're here. But what about those kids whose parents are working 3 jobs, or they don't even know how to negotiate their way through the system? We got to be there advocating for them too. So we're firmly about that, which kind of leads me into the second piece that we're working on is accountability. And people seem to just, oh, I hate that word accountability. Well, we've all got to be accountable, and yes, we have plenty of accountability now, but it's not always the right kind. And again, I think we get at these kids, particularly the poor kids, kids of color that are really still getting the short end of the stick in our state. And what we're saying accountability is, you know, at some point, enough's enough. We have to do something. We want to do it in partnership with our local school boards, but we have to do something. We can't just year after year let kids go in and out of the system with no changes for them. And if you look at the scores in some of these poorer schools, they're not good and they're not getting better. So again, we've been working really hard. I want to give a big shout out to Karen Madsen and the WASDA folks, because they have been great leaders. They rein us back in. You know, we tend to like go out there. But I think we're coming up with a workable piece. And I think when you think about this basic ed piece, I mean, I think that we have 2 salient pieces to sell, and you know the legislators, they're going to put this out to the voters to vote for. But the voters don't want to vote for more of the same. They just don't. They want to see a difference. They want to know that there's going to be some different things for their kids in education and that there's going to be some accountability there. So we think we have two big important pieces in that. We've done a lot of work with math and science, and a shout out to Julie, who I know has been tracking this night and day. And I keep thinking my nightmare is going to be over, but not you, but the work on math and science. But you know, you guys again have been there saying we need world-class standards. We absolutely do. And when you look at what other states, much less other countries, are doing, of course we ought to be there. And why wouldn't we want to be there? I mean, look at all the incredible companies we have in our state, and they're importing workers. There's something wrong with that. Our kids should have those first crack at those jobs.